Halito everybody, welcome back. This is CT over at The Native Reality, and today we're going to be talking about 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way Tell All Part 2. So we start off the episode, everybody's on stage, and Nicole is still crying because, Mahmoud was being questioned, what's his name? Gabe was like doing the rapid fire questions about, how he's going to raise the kids and stuff like that. And Mahmoud's really upset, and he goes off stage and he's cursing and he's like, I'm not going to talk to that asshole. Like, who is he to question me? It makes me look good. Makes me look bad. It makes my religion look bad. He was very upset. He took that very personally. And I think these are questions that maybe he's never been asked before. And I know some people feel, maybe that it was too much, but I was there for it. I don't think Gabe asked those questions in a disrespectful way, but let's face it, he was asking the questions that Sean Robinson wouldn't ask. So, he was gunning for her job, okay? Anyway, so Nicole, she's on the phone with him. She's trying to calm him down. Finally, she gets him to come back in and sit down and get back on camera. And she's still crying the whole time, right? So then Gabe says, he clarifies about, listen, this is not necessarily the way you're seeing it. Like I'm asking you this because the way that from his own personal experience, the way religion has, I don't know, necessarily affected his life personally, but he said that his stepfather is Muslim his stepmother is Muslim. And I guess, are there some step siblings? He didn't give us a whole lot of detail about that. So, yeah, I'm just not sure like who's married to who or whatever, but I guess he does have some experience with the culture. So I thought this gave us a little bit of context of where he was coming from. So I thought that was very interesting. But yeah, I wish Gabe would tell us a little bit more. He gave us a lot of detail, right? But I want to know more about like his family, like the cultural aspect and stuff like that. I'm always very interested in stuff like that. Good morning, Susan. How are you? Or good afternoon. Maybe that's good afternoon where you are. That was a good reunion, right? I enjoyed it. I thought this whole season was really good. But yeah, thanks for joining me, girl. So yeah, he's back on camera, Nicole is over there crying her eyes out, and why can't everybody just respect everybody's different backgrounds and just like all this stuff like that? Like, why can't we just like get along in the world, just be wonderful? Listen, because Nicole, this is the world we live in, unfortunately, right? Had you done a little bit more research, you wouldn't have even been in this situation. She's a little foolish. I don't understand her logic. And then here comes Mama Bear, what's her name? Oh my God, now I can't even remember her name. Oh my God, Debbie, with her magenta boa, feather boa on and the peacock half, boa fan, just the outfit was just too much. Debbie, come on, but I was here for it, right? But I think it's because she probably feels like, she also was another white American woman who went to a Middle Eastern Arab culture, with an Islamic religion and stuff like that, and probably felt like she could relate in some ways, So I guess it was, she was having like a moment of like sisterhood and stuff like that. So, that's fine. But at the same time, it's like both of y'all were dummies. Both of y'all did not even research the cultures that you were going into. Debbie, honey, you were going to wind up, with a 24-year-old that was just going to be basically a walking invoice, because you just would have to be paying for everything. His paint sets and his poetry trips and, another poetry trip, and got the friends from the other poetry group. It was just ridiculous. It was, they were, commiserating, but it was like over some stupidity. Both of them should not have been out, even outside the state. Well, I shouldn't say they shouldn't be outside the states, but they shouldn't have been in those countries, especially, though Debbie did seem like she probably could deal with some of those like restrictions more, but Nicole definitely not. Debbie, like up to a point. Debbie's like, okay, I can wear the long clothes and stuff like that. But Debbie wanted her drink, honey. She wanted her libation. She was like, oh my God, I just need a drink. Remember? A couple episodes ago, that shit was so funny. But anyway, all right, so now, we start talking about Gabe and his business. And apparently, of course, him and Isabel are still together and they're doing well. And his business is thriving. They had his buddy come on. And, I kind of felt like he was unnecessary for the show because what did his friends say? Nothing that we didn't hear in the episode, during the season. Basically, it's like, hey, Gabe is, Gabe gets a lot of attention and, so what? I mean, that's, no big revelation there, right? But Isabella's still pretty firm that she doesn't like him to hang out with him. And I think there's something, maybe that she saw or something in that friend. But yeah, I didn't understand why they even brought him, on the stage. But it is a good thing. I think it's very positive that his business is prospering, and the fact that he is now opening up not now, but it's maybe because of the show or something. He's getting different clientele, and apparently, I guess the men like to do the false advertising just like the ladies do. They ain't the only ones doing the chicken cutlets in the bra. Okay, so the men are these men with natural phalluses are, wearing prosthetic, underwears with prosthetic bulges in them. I found that to be quite interesting, but not totally surprising. You know what I mean? So anyway, so that was Gabe and Isabel. So excuse me. So now we have Jen. So apparently Jen went to some wedding. Okay, so Sean asked her, so what's going on with you and Rishi? What's the update? She goes, well, I went to this wedding and, I just happened to see Rishi there. And I was like, Jen, how stupid do you think we are? You just happened to be in India? That's like me saying, oh, I happen to be in Mogadishu or someplace like, that is so far away. All right. I mean, you clearly have to cross at least one ocean. Like, what are you talking about? So, okay, you just happen to be in India. All right. That is so funny, Jim. So she saw Rishi there. They reconnected, apparently in more ways than one. So finally she got to kind of sample what, she, had invested 3 years in for nothing, basically. So according to Rishi, when pressed, they are still engaged. Because remember, Rishi was not ready to let her go. I think Rishi, I don't know what his plan is. Maybe just to keep her around for a real long time till they finally just can't say no or something. I mean, I don't get it. I mean, does he not, maybe he just doesn't want kids. Not to say that they can't adopt, or that they don't have adoption in India, but I don't know how the system works over there. And no one's mentioned anything about kids because we know Jen is not having any kind of biological children at this point. So, yeah, I mean, I guess they're back together. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I was a little sad when they broke up. It was kind of hard because it just seemed like, they did care about each other, but I just felt like he couldn't really push past the, standing up to his parents kind of thing. I mean, there is culture and understand there's a lot of pressure and stuff like that, but, if and this is the person you want to marry, you just go ahead and do it. But, but then maybe the compromise is you guys live in the same house, but, maybe it's 2 floors or 3 floors or something. I just, I felt like, it was, maybe they could have worked things out a little bit better, but, or not maybe they could have worked things out. You can't change her age, but I wish things maybe would have went differently for them because the heartbreak, it was a lot of heartbreak when they broke up. So anyway, I guess they're still back together. So, so then everybody's asking about his engagement status and, I mean, they're really piling on because it seemed like the whole panel was all upset that he could not stand up to his mom. So then here comes Interstage Right comes in Myra and Randy, if that's how you say her name, Myra, Mira, and his family, his mom and his uncle, who's like a dad to him, show up on camera. So then everybody's asking, especially Gabe, because like I said, he wants Sean's job, right? I don't know if the underwear is selling that good because he really was gunning for that position. So, Gabe is confronting everybody. And, he says to Rishi, he's like, Rishi, why can't you, what did he say? Something about like, why can't you just say what you said to us, like to your parents and stuff? So then, Rishi is telling his parents, but he's not really telling his parents. He's like, I still like her and everything. So then his mom goes, to Jen, it's nothing personal. Like, you're nice, but you're just too old, and we don't have old ass women married into our young men. Not in this village. We don't do that. And and then Jen basically forces him to let his mom know that, hey, because listen, if you're saying we're still engaged, because she seemed surprised. Jen was like, oh, we're still engaged. Oh, I didn't know about that. That's news to me. Well, if we are, then I need you to let your parents know. So, finally now he's under the gun, okay, and he's still trying to bullshit with that translator, and he's talking in circles, but then finally they're like, no, tell them. So then he finally tells them, like, listen, I do intend on marrying her, and this is the girl, and blah, blah, blah. I still don't think the mother's going to let it, because the mom was like, nope, I just told you why, you're nice and everything like that, but we can't rewind the clock. So then Jen's friends start critiquing Danielle about the way that, they made it basically seem like she's emasculating him. But she's like, he also has some other, what's the word I'm looking for? Like kind of like misogynistic ways and stuff that he needs to work on. And he does, and that's true. But it just seems like it does come off on camera like, she just doesn't care what he thinks. She has no respect for what his values of marriage are. You got to at least be halfway. I mean, I'm saying, like, if somebody's like their head's in the Stone Ages and you're totally modern, you got to try to meet halfway, or maybe find that out before you get married. But now that you're married, you got to figure something out. Oh, hi, Barbara. How are you? 10 a.m. Yeah, it's 9:51 over here. Yeah, we're in the same time zone, Barbara. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining me. All right, we got a party because we got our ladies in the chat now. But anyway, so yeah, I don't know. I mean, Jen's react. Well, first let me go back to Danielle. I didn't know how Danielle was going to react to Jen's friends saying what they said about how they feel that she treats Johan. But Johan was like, yeah, it's true. She doesn't respect what I say. She doesn't, or like my opinions or anything like that. And, that's not really a marriage. And, I'm feeling like I'm not as much in love with her as I used to be. It seems like, well, let me not get ahead of myself because I don't want to confuse some of the upcoming clips for next week. But it does not seem like it's going very well. Now, Danielle, just like, I don't know, they were getting into all this, Sean was asking all these questions about, basically, how do you all work out the height difference? And, and she's just giggling over there. She's like, well, I'm lucky, I guess. And when they were talking about the prosthetic underwear, she's like, I guess I don't have that problem. I guess I'm lucky. And I was like, she's basically letting us know, letting the world know what her husband is working with. And I just kind of feel like because it is I just kind of felt like because of the dynamic of the relationship, the age difference, the money difference, not to say she's rich because, if, the alleged financial allegations are true, if they are so true, then possibly there's some money situation, but it still is not, doesn't equate to what he's making, having that butcher shop where you got to swap the flies every 2 seconds. She still has more than he does, it seems to be. So I think that, and plus the like, listen, I don't rate people like that, but, if we're just being like petty and silly, right, he's much closer to a 10 than she is. We'll just put it in, in that way. So I feel like because of all of these different dynamics, It's different if like they had the same amount of money, or maybe they were from the same class, or they had the same educational background or something like that. That'll be different. So it seems like the power is so much on her side, and I'm all for women having power in a relationship. You all know this is a feminist channel. We don't play that around here. But but even as a feminist, I do still feel like you don't want to just like step on a guy's, step on his neck the whole time, right? You still want a person to still feel like, they can still, be confident within their masculinity, not to bring toxicity in with the masculinity, but I just feel like she does it in a way where, I don't know, I kind of feel like, I don't know, it just feels disrespectful in so many ways. So to have all of those things be true and then be talking about, penis size and stuff like that, I just feel like that, listen, if he's packing and he, probably is pretty tall, he brought it up. I'm not saying it's all on her, but I just feel like maybe that's not something, because it already makes her she looks like the privileged rich white lady that's going to the island, getting some island D and kind of like trying to control. That's how it looks, right? So in that case, don't be talking about his penis size, because it looks like, you're objectifying. It just doesn't look good. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't look good. So I just felt like she could have, stayed quiet on that one or something like that. But, Johan's an idiot though too, because why was he trying to, ask the ex-boyfriend what shoe size he wears and stuff like that? I don't see this marriage working. I think that eventually he's going to want to have some kids. I agree, Susan. I think she needs to respect him. I really do. I think, everybody still needs to have a little bit of respect for one another, regardless of gender. There is such thing as equality. Hello, have we heard of that? Right? And I just feel like, she's kind of taking it a little bit far. Hold on one second. I got to plug in my charger here. I don't want my computer to shut off. All right, there we go. We're good to go. So then, all right, so yeah, that's Danielle and Johan. So where are we at now? All right, finally his mom just sent it to you. Okay. So then the last one we're going to talk about is Chris. Ooh, honey, Chris. With her lying self. Honey, she was lying. Susan, see, me and you, we've been talking about this, right, for a couple of months. Like, something up with her, and the way Jamie was saying that, she's saying that she was spending all this money, and she's been sending all this money. Not true. Listen, Jamie came with every receipt she possibly could. She pulled up that phone and she was like, no, look at my bank account. Do you see this deposit? That's all I got. And she was like $700 or something like that. So Chris has been telling us that she's been sending all this money. She's been working and working and working. Like, her story just has holes in it. It just doesn't make sense, right? So at first it was, I got to go back because, my bank account stuff, I got to get that fixed. Then it was, I have to go back because of some court case. Then it was like, I got to go back, or I got to stay even longer because my son is in trouble. And now, I got to stay even longer because now he's in jail. You know what I mean? It seems like, it just seems like something's going on with her, okay? And I don't know. I have relatives, or I've had relatives in the past, or have relatives that have that kind of behavior, and it's usually because they're up to something that's not, that they can't show on camera. You know what I'm saying? If you know what I mean. So she's, I don't know. I think that Jamie, she kind of painted this picture like Jamie was just using her and just wanted her for all her money and stuff like that. I don't think it was that. I think Jamie just had a reasonable expectation that, if you have a little bit more money saved up and you own property, then you're the one in the relationship that has a little bit more money. So maybe you would take on a little bit more of the responsibility, or some of it, come on, if you have more of the money. So, but I think Chris painted a picture that she was in a better situation financially than what she actually was. Jamie should not have gotten that apartment, which obviously wound up being a really big deal to Chris and made her feel more pressure to spend this money. But the thing is that Chris just had she has a lot of secrets. She's got a lot of stuff going on that we don't know about. So, you don't stay away from your spouse that long, and then Jamie's like, oh, but she was cheating on me. But wait a minute, didn't you like completely drop out of the picture? So then you're not dating anymore. Like, you guys hadn't even met in person. So who cares if you go on to the next one? Swipe right, swipe left, whatever. I don't know which direction they do it in. But I mean, who cares? Like, to me, that wasn't cheating. If you disappear, then obviously we're not together. Barbara says, but she had the panel turning on Jamie. Oh, no, Susan said that. And then Barbara says, I'll bet she didn't work as much as she says she did. Yeah, she was acting like she was over there on the chain gang. Like she had all these 15 different jobs. I was like, I don't know. I didn't believe it. And I feel as though, she also understands, or probably not to the fullest extent, but, Jamie is also, I don't know, like legally if she has refugee status, but like I said before, she came from Venezuela. They were fleeing all this political unrest and food insecurity. There was famine, major famine going on in Venezuela. So, her status, like for working, I don't even know what that was, because she was working at an attorney's office, I think as a paralegal or something like that, or I don't know exactly, but she was working for the attorney's office before Jamie told her that it was okay for her to quit her job, which Jamie should have never did, Chris told her she could quit her job, and Jamie should have never did that. But I don't know if Jamie's job was under the books, therefore it's hard for her to get another job, and maybe that's why she hasn't been able to find anything so fast. I have no idea. The car wreck, probably drunk. Oh, Susan, girl, or something. Yeah, yes, or something, because it just, like some of the confessionals, her eyes, she's like, doing her hair and her eyes are like that. I'm like, okay, Chris. All right, girl. All right, we see you. So, Chris is saying that she only sent Jamie a total of, Chris is like, Jamie says that she only received about $1,500 in total of the entire relationship. And Chris is saying that she sent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So I think Chris is lying. I really do. And I think that Debbie was on Chris's side, because Debbie's all burned and scorned, seeing, I think she's like out of this bubble with Osama. So now I think she's starting to think that the person that's living in the other country automatically wants the person for their money and stuff like that. It's like, I think she's conflating the issues, because Debbie's situation is so different. This is no matter what anybody says, who said whatever first, it's a little bit of a scam going on with Osama, right? But he's claiming it's a miscommunication. I thought Debbie was going to move to Morocco. I thought Debbie was going to come to Morocco, and then we were going to go back to the States together. Debbie's claiming, no, you knew I was moving to Morocco. This is different. This with the 90 Day the Other Way, we usually get less accusations about the American trying to scam the non-American trying to scam the American, because typically these people are there to move to these people's countries. Chris just, she didn't do any research. She didn't do anything. I think the onus is on both of them, but I feel like Chris, because she was either in a better financial situation, or she appeared or she made it seem as though she was in a better financial situation. And I thought that she was, because she could afford the plane ticket. She went there with was it like $10,000 or something like that, because they were trying to get that food truck. Susan says, when you're on a show, your roots get covered. Chris looked terrible. Listen, Susan, listen, I'm a hairstylist. I was looking at her like, something's not right. You don't go on TV. Now, it's one thing if the cameras are there like day after day after day, and then your roots start to come up a little bit, and you need to touch that up. But to show up at a tell-all like that, she's not taking care of herself or something. And I'm not saying you not doing your roots doesn't mean you've completely, checked out of life or something like that. But come on, she's an American woman living in 2023. To go on camera looking the way that she did it just didn't, it kind of adds to my suspicion that something else is going on with her, right? Thank you for mentioning that. I totally forgot about that because the whole time I was just like, she's lying. You know she's lying. So then, what did Barbara say? I kept thinking that the entire show, roots, right? And some of us, over 40 years old, we got a lot of grades and we got to keep those things touched up. We know when we're going on television, or we go to an event or something like that, we're not trying to do the 6 inches of white and then the rest is all whatever color that we decided to dye it 6 years ago. So, but anyway, yeah, that was a pretty good tell-all. I'd probably say that the first one was a little bit better. Now, I will say, I'm not going to go into all the detail about Gabe and how all of his sexual functions work and things like that, but I did find it incredibly interesting, incredibly educational, and I thought, wow, like you are really not only providing education, but I think it kind of can help maybe dispel some of the mystery or demystify or something things about trans men. I mean, I a lot of people, even me myself, I mean, I don't know any trans men. I know plenty of trans women. I don't know any trans men. So that was like, I even learned something. So I mean, I thought it was really interesting. But yeah, I mean, we'll see next week. So it looks like we're going to get some more conversation with Johan and Danielle, which I really want to get into because I just, he just needs to move on. He just needs a younger woman. I'm sorry. That's how I feel about it. He needs a younger woman. Let's see, who else did we cover? We got Debbie, we got Nicole, Chris and Jamie. We did Jen and Rishi and her friends. And yeah, I think that's about it, right? Did I get everybody? I think I did. But anyway, yeah, we did get educated. It was definitely very interesting. But yeah, that's about it for the reunion. So next week is part 3, and I assume that's going to be it. I have been watching 90 Day Fiancé in Paradise, just to kind of pass the time. I don't do a review on that one because I don't know. I'm just not really. I don't know. I feel like I only like to do shows that I feel like the couples are really going to be together and we really get to follow them from like beginning to end. And with the Paradise one, I feel like these people just, it feels kind of flighty. They're on vacation and, that's where we got Danielle and Johan. I really didn't need to see them this season on this 90 Day Fiancé the other way, but every once in a while it's okay to bring, one couple on there. And I am watching, though, on 90 Day Fiancé in Paradise, I am keeping my eye on Valentine and is it Carlos, I think his name is. I think they're a very, very interesting couple. He's a singer, he's Black American from is he from California, I think, and Carlos is he's Latino from Colombia, and yeah, like, he comes from a mixed heritage, his family and stuff like that. So I really like to see all that different layers and, different things, how they handle different situations, being in a Catholic country, and being out and, one coming out later than the other and, like stuff like that. It's just, that's pretty interesting. So, we'll see. A reality ATL, it would be interesting to see how accepting Gabe's dad's family is and where they are from. If him, be interesting to learn how accepting Gabe's dad's family is. Yeah, I mean, right, reality ATL. I agree. I want to know so much more about Gabe's dad's family. Like they never mention his dad. All they say, like when I say they, either him, his mom, or his sister, all they ever say is, we just had us. So, we got some step siblings out there or something like that, or some, or some half siblings. I am dying to know. That's a good point, reality ATL. Thank you for bringing that up. And thank you for joining me as well. So yeah, we'll see. But next week, honey, it's going to get good because we see that sister of Gabe's, the pretty one. She is so pretty, but she is so nasty. Okay. So hopefully they all join forces and drag her ass around that stage the way they were doing everybody else, because it was Gabe who was being Barbara Walters over there, firing off all the pressing questions. So we will see if Gabe's going to keep that same energy, as the young kids say, when it comes down to his sister, We will see. I'm really interested in that, and I'm sure his mom will be on there too. But I hope they ask some questions about other parts of his family. And who knows, reality ATL, maybe if not from the U.S. Okay, yeah, if he's not from the U.S. Yeah, because the thing is that we don't really know. I noticed Gabe's mom was speaking Spanish just a little bit to Isabel's dad. So, I mean, I just figured they were Latino, right? I mean, they just kind of seemed like it. But, you know, when she was speaking Spanish, then that kind of confirmed it. But the mom says she doesn't really speak Spanish. So I think she probably knows just like a few words or something like that. Maybe her mom knows some words from her mom or from grandmother or whatever. But the dad's side, is her dad's side American? Is he Latino? Is he Afro-Latino? Is he black? Like what's going on? Like, give us some cultural context here. Because I think because Gabe has been so forthcoming with so many things, I would like to really know like about that. You know, I'm an LGBTQ A plus every alphabet number, whatever letter, dashes and parentheses, you know, member of the community as well. So I'm interested in stuff like that. I think it's very interesting. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just really, really am looking forward for his sister to get dragged next week. That's all I can say about that. But that's it, everybody. I mean, it was a pretty good episode. So right now, I'm going to click off, and I'm going to do a show or do a live about Match Me Abroad, the show that comes on right after. That comes on so late. It's a hard one for me to watch because it comes on at 10 p.m. my time on the East Coast in Seattle. I don't know about you guys. It just comes on so late. So that one's a little bit harder for me to you know, I'll be like getting my kid ready for school. I'm kind of watching it, you know, in the background or whatever. It's a little slow to start off with, but I think we'll pick up a little bit later on. But that's it, guys. I hope you're staying safe. I hope you're taking care of yourselves. And remember, you know, still be careful because, you know, you can still get cold and flus and, you know, the viruses that are in the air and stuff like that. So please take care of yourselves, everybody. That's it. I'll see you next week. Or actually, no. Well, I'll see you next week for this show, but I will see you on Thursday for Married at First Sight. And if you feel like sticking around, I'll see you guys in a few minutes for Match Me Abroad. And that's it. All right. Chipi Salacho.